Hello, it's Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot, and today I'm here to share with you my June 2019 reflections. So mostly what I have to share with you this month is actually goodies. So I just thought, rather than switching the camera around, we'll just jump right into this. I do have a couple of notes to mention, which I'll share with you at the end, but let's just get into the good stuff because that's the really fun part, right? So to start with, I'm going to slide these out of the way for the moment. To start with, I just wanted to show you guys a couple of little treasures that I found in the mall of all places. So I was shopping with my daughter, getting her ready for her trip, and she was checking out some jewelry in the store, and I happened to find this book in the clearance section, and it was marked $7.97, but it was actually 40% off that. And anyway, it is just like, it's a cute little book. It's called The Art of Tarot, and it has all these different pictures of different tarot decks, which I thought was really fascinating. There's no information in this book. It's just, it has information about the deck that it's from, but it's just a look at all the different cards from different decks. And I just thought that was really fascinating. And one of the main things that I love about tarot is the artwork. So I just thought that is so cool. And it was like $5 or something like that. So I went ahead and picked it up because everybody needs a little book of tarot art. And my other find at the mall was this guy. And this is my first, hopefully I can focus in on him. This is my first crystal skull. And I've looked at them many, many times. He has a crack in his head. This kind of seems fitting for me. Anyway, I've always been drawn to these crystal skulls. I've just never actually gotten one. And this little guy was sitting on the shelf and he was just calling to me. He doesn't have a name yet. I think he needs a name, but I'm waiting for him to tell me his name. So for right now, he's hanging out on my little crystal shelf, my little crystal altar. So that is one of my other finds. So those were just two kind of my fun little treasures that I found this month. So let's go ahead and talk about the decks that I worked with this month. So the first two decks that I work with the first week of June was my, so I always want to say Sassy Burrito because that's what everybody always calls it, the Sassy Burrito Tarot and the Oracle of Echoes. And these I used for my daily draws, and these cards just look absolutely beautiful together. The messages were really clear. I really enjoyed the pairings. So I do them, which if you've seen my other my last few monthly reflections. This is something that I've been doing for several months now, where I pull one tarot, one oracle every day. The tarot provides my energy for the day, and my oracle provides my message for the day. And these two decks they speak really well to each other, and I think the artwork looks really beautiful together. And I did really enjoy working with those two this month. So that is the there I go again, Sassy Burrito, the Sassy Burrito Tarot, and the Oracle of Echoes. So the next two decks that I worked with the second week of June was the Darkness of Light Tarot and the Shamanic Healing Oracle cards. And these two decks, I think because they're both really dark, they do work really well together. I really enjoyed the messages. Both, as that flies everywhere, both of them are two decks that I really enjoy working with. I love the earthy energy of the Darkness of Light, and I love this this earthy energy in the Shamanic Healing, but where this is kind of more refined, this is more primal. And I love that interplay between the two. So you have the really refined, very detailed artwork, and then the very primal, almost archaic type of artwork in the Shamanic Healing, and they just work beautifully together. You definitely get kind of that heavier, darker energy, which may seem a little bit heavy for summer, I guess, but I had done so much work with so many light decks during the spring that I found myself really being drawn to those darker decks for the most part over the last few weeks. So these two they work beautifully together. They have a conversation. It's really gorgeous. I love the messages in the Shamanic Healing Guidebook, so I do actually tend to use the guidebook quite often with this oracle. I think it definitely can be read intuitively, but I think the messages in the guidebook are really wonderful. So I think that these two work really beautiful together, and I really enjoyed working with them. So that is the Darkness of Light Tarot and the Shamanic Healing Oracle cards. So the next two decks that I worked with, you will actually see quite a bit on my channel this month in July, because I actually did pretty detailed walkthroughs of both of these decks. They were actually really long, and I had a ton of fun doing them, so hopefully you guys will enjoy them as well. This is the Wouldnt Tarot and the Earthbound Oracle. And these are by the same creator, as you can probably tell. They work beautifully together. I really feel like they were meant to go together. But I've actually found that these two decks work really well with a lot of different decks. I have been really surprised by these two decks. I wasn't really sure. I really like the artwork. It's kind of surreal. It's very simple. Even it's gorgeous, but it's very simple. It's more of a pip style deck, which I actually do really like. But I've just been pleasantly surprised by these two decks. I didn't expect to like them as much as I do, and you'll see that when I do the walkthroughs, because I kind of gush all over them. But anyway, the messages are just gorgeous. I love the way these cards pair together. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because, like I said, I have really detailed walkthroughs of these two coming later this month for you guys. So anyway, two decks that I really enjoyed. I actually use them for multiple types of readings as well as my daily draws. So that is the Wouldnt Tarot and the Earthbound Oracle. So the last two decks that I used in June for my weekly readings was the Influence of the Angels Tarot and the Divine Doors Oracle. I never know which way to lay this deck because it has the text is on the back, but these cards look beautiful together. Look how gorgeous they are. I really found that there was a wonderful interplay between the angelic message that's actually in the guidebook of this tarot and the messages on the back of these cards. There seemed to be a really interesting synchronicity between the two, and I really enjoyed pairing these together. I'm actually going to work with these alongside my Golden Tarot as well, my Cat Black Golden Tarot. But these two together, they just work beautifully. The messages are very, they support each other really well, and they have like this gorgeous conversation between the two of them, not only from the messages in the book and the messages in the card, but just in the artwork itself. Gorgeous conversations going on within these pictures. So yeah, this is one I really enjoyed working with. I think they're just beautiful. This is one of my, it's a newer deck in my collection, as is this one, and I just really, really am enjoying it more than I thought I would. It's been kind of a pleasant surprise, like the Wouldnt Tarot. So yeah, absolutely gorgeous. That's my favorite card in the whole deck, or one of them. So beautiful pairings. They speak really well to each other, and I really enjoyed working with them. So that is the Influence of the Angels and the Divine Doors. So I did start a new practice in June where I actually pulled one animal card for the week. So in addition to my daily draws, I actually pulled an animal oracle that I kept on hand. And I think these are all turned around all kinds of funky, so I apologize for that. But yep, somehow, maybe it's just that one. Anyway, I just did a walkthrough and a mod with me on this deck, so I won't go into it too much. But animal energy is something that I've been trying to work with more. So I really love this deck, so I thought this was the perfect one to try it with. So I pulled a card for every day or every week in June, and I sat with that energy, that animal energy, that kin essence, as this deck calls it, and I worked with that throughout the week, and I really enjoyed that practice. I'm going to continue that into July, but I'm not going to use the animal kin. I'm going to use a different oracle for that process. So yeah, it's just a gorgeous deck, and I really loved adding this animal energy in, and it's probably something that I will do again But for now, after a month of using these on a weekly basis, I'm kind of ready to move on to some different energy. So yeah, I'll be repeating that process with a different oracle in July. That's just a gorgeous deck. My favorite backs ever on this deck. All-time favorite backs. So those are the decks that I worked with primarily in June. I did have some other decks that I used for various readings, check-ins, my moon readings, that sort of thing. And you can check those out in my June journaling video. So I also made quite a few bags in June, so I just wanted to show you guys those real quick. So this bag I made for my Goddess Knowledge cards, I think they're called. They're the ones with the Susan Seddon Belay artwork on them. They're absolutely gorgeous. But here's the little bag I made. I love the gold butterflies, and I think it just looks beautiful with this deck. So that is one bag that I made. And of course it's kind of a wonky sized deck, so it's a wonky sized bag. That's kind of my trademark now, wonky bags. This is the bag I made. This is the bag I made for my Mother's Wisdom deck, and this is a new deck for me, and I think this is the one that I'm going to be using for my weekly oracle card to sit with. I love this deck. I haven't really had a chance to work with it, but I really love the artwork. But I just thought that the this fabric really just stood out to me as being for this deck, and I used some of my favorite sunflowers on the inside. And yeah, I think it just came out gorgeous. Or I love being able to pick out fabric specifically for certain decks. It's just a wonderful process. I really enjoy it. This is the bag that I created for my Mother Mary Oracle. As I'm sure you've all seen pictures of this. But I just, again, you can see I used the sunflower fabric again because I really liked that pop of the sunflower energy on the inside. But I loved this fabric for the outside, this kind of very ornate red but gold. Red with the gold thread. So that was the bag that I created for my Mother Mary Oracle. So then I have the bag that I created for my Gypsy Palace, and I actually spent quite a long time trying to find fabric for this particular deck. I did just a black inside because I think it really matches the energy of this deck. And I think it works really well. So anyway, I really, really love that fabric for my Gypsy Palace. I didn't keep it in its box. It does come with a great box, but I don't like for the box. I don't really like boxes. I'm just not a box person. Anyway, these are the last two that I created, and these two I think are pretty cool. Let me move some of these other ones out of the way here. So these are the bags that I created for my Wouldnt Tarot and my Earthbound Oracle. So here is my Wouldnt Tarot one. So we have the butterflies with the greenery, which you can see here on the outside of this one. And then on the inside of this one is the butterflies. So I just flip-flopped them so that they make a set. It's a matching pair. So those were two really fun bags to make because I got to make kind of like a set, a little mini bag and a tarot bag. And they have their matching fabrics. So that is the bags that I created this month. So moving into July, a couple of things I have coming up. Of course, I have my my June journal that you'll be able to take a look at here in the next day or two. I've got several more Mod With Me's coming on Saturdays. As I already mentioned, I have very detailed walkthroughs of the Wouldnt Tarot and the Earthbound Oracle. And I also have a walkthrough coming of the Slow Tarot, which is a gorgeous deck that I just got in. I know everybody's doing walkthroughs on it, but I figure I might as well throw my 2 cents out there. So really exciting. I have my giveaway coming next week for my 1,000 subscribers giveaway. I didn't do it, I originally wanted to do it the first week of July, and then I realized here in the States that is a holiday weekend, so I thought that might not be the best day to do it. So I waited till, I'm waiting till next week, and I'm going to show you all of the goodies that I've got for you guys. I actually made a bunch of stuff for you guys. So I'm really excited for that one. I'll also take a look at some of the books I've been loving. I haven't had a chance to really include those in these monthly videos because I've had so many decks and other things to talk about. So I just did a separate video for that. And then I also have a video on my 3 favorite spreads that I share that with you guys, and I actually have a free download that goes along with that as well. Again, more details in that video. So July is kind of a month of giving stuff away. I've got my big giveaway. I've got some free downloads coming, so hopefully you guys will enjoy all of that. So I think that's it for me today. That was a look at my June reflections, some of the decks that I worked with, some goodies that I got, some bags that I made, and then of course, you know, looking at some of the things coming up in this month. So I hope you guys all had a beautiful June, and I hope you have a wonderful July, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for more Creative Tarot for an Inspired Life.